Hi Noteboard Gamers and welcome back to Noteboard Gaming. I'm your host, I'm Mark, and do I have a very exciting video for you today. You see, in today's video I'm going to be previewing the Automaton of Shale. That's right, the pop-up book that's coming from Chip Theory Games. Now, Chip Theory Games have been very kind to send me an early preview copy of this. It is the final production copy, so this is how, if you've ordered it in the Kickstarter, this is how you'll receive it. And I think it starts to get delivered to backers in about a month or so's time. However, they got delivered a few early copies so they could send them out to content creators and people to cover it, and I was really lucky to be able to get a copy of the Automaton of Shale. So I'm going to be taking you through a spoiler-free as possible preview of what to expect when you get your wonderful package of the Automaton of Shale. Now, if you watched Josh Welgus's video on Chip Theory Games YouTube channel, you'll see that Josh goes fairly much in depth into all the content that's in there. So in terms of the cards that you get, well, you know, kind of what's on there, what's in the loot cards, etc., what the baddie chips are. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say that they are kind of loot cards or trove loot cards, but I'm not going to tell you what's behind it. So if you're looking for a more spoiler-free kind of preview, then this could be for you. If you want to know more about what you get in the game, then go and watch Josh's video. And also, I think Josh calls it the Automaton of Shale, and I'm British, so I'm going to call it Automaton of Shale. So yeah, this is what we're going to be going through today, as spoiler-free as possible. Of course, because we're going to be looking at everything, the beautiful artwork, the wonderful pop-up stuff, it's not going to be totally spoiler-free, but I'm not going to go in depth on too much stuff for you. So, what is Automaton of Shale? Well, I think before we get into that, we'll start by saying I bloody love Too Many Bones. I have everything for Too Many Bones. As you can see back here, I've got the trove chest. That's with the base game, that's with Undertow, 40 Days in Daylore, all of the other expansions for it, all of the stuff that's out for it, and obviously I've ordered all of the new stuff for it. I think the only thing I do not have is the puzzle that may or may not exist for Undertow. That's one that, if it does exist, I haven't solved it yet. I've even got, obviously here, my Too Many Bones dice tray. I've got my Too Many Bones mat, and kind of the precursors to this as well is I've got the Liberation logbook, which is this wonderful kind of, looks like burnt corn and mud-soaked kind of lore and background on Too Many Bones, and also the waterlogged logbook. This is potentially my favourite thing that I own, and if you're lucky enough to get one of these, it's an absolute joy to own and to read all of the lore behind Too Many Bones. So I was really excited when in kind of the last Kickstarter they came up and they said, hey, you know what, we're going to do this pop-up book. It seems like a good idea. And being Chip Theory Games, that kind of left field approach perfectly fits their kind of ethos in what they're doing and how they're just looking at Too Many Bones from different angles and just kind of, yeah, let's do this. It's a little bit crazy, but you know what? The crazier it is, the better it works. Now, as you know, with all the Unbreakable Kickstarter stuff, that's kind of going to be the end of the current iteration of Too Many Bones. Not necessarily the end of the Too Many Bones line, but the current iteration of Too Many Bones. And Automaton of Shale is one of this final iteration, or part of this final iteration. So, before we actually delve into what's in the box itself, I'm just going to show you the box because it comes in this wonderful looking box. And it's absolutely fantastic. It says on the back here, and you can see the box is a fair old size, but it is beautiful. It's got this wonderful kind of artwork on there. Too Many Bones, the Automaton of Shale, and all these gears for gear locks and dice on there. And on the back it says, never before have gear locks sprung to life so vividly, nor has an evil tyrant struck at them so lividly. So join us on our journey as we try hard not to die and keep this tome held at arm's length, lest you should lose an eye. And there we go. That just gives you an overview on kind of what's inside there. So what I'll do is I'll switch to an overhead view and I'll take the Automaton of Shale book out here and I'll show you just how utterly beautiful it is. So here we can see a top-down view of the Automaton of Shale, and I've got the Liberation logbook and the Waterlog logbook next to it, so you can see for size, it is quite a sizable box that you have here. So I'll put those to one side. Now, when you first get your Automaton of Shale, you're going to open it up and you're in for a treat because, you know, as you would expect with Chip Theory games, production is absolutely top notch, and it opens up and you've got all these pictures of bones and gears, etc. in there, and there is the book nestled ever so lovely inside. Now, with it came some kind of notes on the Automaton of Shale and how it came about. So I'm going to read you these notes, and it says, Chip Theory Games is excited to be finally releasing Too Many Bones, the Automaton of Shale this May. A passion project that's been over a year in the making. Automaton of Shale is a vivid physical realisation of the novel and against the grain approach of Chip Theory Games and its flagship franchise. Absolutely, the against the grain approach is just what we truly love Chip Theory about Chip Theory. Chip Theory has a history of strange and novel literature in their Too Many Bones franchise. The company has released 2 previous tomes, the Liberation Logbook and the Waterlogged book as well, featuring immersive premium features like literal hand-burnt and mud-soaked pages paired with beautiful art and stories from the world of Daylore. The Automaton of Shale began as an April Fool's gag around the concept of overproduced literature. In its April Fool's post in 2021, Chip Theory joked that the only way to further elevate Too Many Bones books would be to produce a pop-up book, and so the company did just that and more, and trust me, it is so much more. The Automaton of Shale is comprised of a number of interesting elements. The headliner is the aforementioned pop-up book, which is set in the Too Many Bones universe. The pop-up book tells a brief story focused on an all-new playable Tyrant for Too Many Bones and Too Many Bones Undertow. Each pop-up page features pockets with a variety of encounters, loot cards and baddie chips, allowing the readers to literally play along as the story unfolds. The gameplay elements can also, however, be shuffled into the player's standard TMB Too Many Bones adventure, adding additional variety to the already enormous amount of playable content available in Too Many Bones. In the Too Many Bones franchise. So that's kind of a brief overview of why it exists and why it's there. And it's truly stunning. So we got the box here. I'll put the Liberation and Logbook to one side, and we'll take out the book. And look at this. This is just a true work of art here. It's utterly fantastic. We can see on the back, it's got the old Chip Theory logo on there. And the Automaton of Shale. So that's how it is, and it sits nicely inside this wonderful, wonderful box. The artwork is obviously by Anthony Letourneau. The paper engineering is by Sam Eater. Illustrations, written by Logan Giannini, and the graphic design by Sean Boyle there as well. So absolutely fantastic. So as I say, I'm going to try and make this as spoiler-free as possible. I don't want to go into the story too much for you, and I don't want to tell you the intricacies of what you get in there. But let's start the adventure on the first page. So as we open up the page, you can see we're here at the Tipsy Troll, and something is happening up here. And watch this as we pull this tab to one side. Oh, something bad happens up in the corner, and in the Tipsy Troll, all of our gear locks are inside just over there. Now throughout it, you're going to get these little pouches, and in these pouches, when you open them, one of the first things they do is they're going to tell you what the story is. There. Again, as I say, I'm not going to read that, but most of them, in fact all of them, also have pouches containing cards. Now, there is a setup card, and I believe, and it was in my copy as well, that the setup card has actually been put on the last page, and it should be on the first page. So I've obviously moved that over here basically. And it says here, the cards and chips in this book, in this book can be played as a single adventure using either the base Too Many Bones game or Undertow or both. To do so, we recommend that you follow the story, playing the encounters in the order as you come across them in the book. So if you know Too Many Bones, you set up your encounter deck and how many days it takes to get to the Tyrant, etc. and your baddie chip stacks. But this means that you don't necessarily do that. You're going to play them as you go through the adventure. But also, as the automaton will be your tyrant, you'll not know what's on there because you're not going to see his card until later. It gives you what baddie stacks to do on there. And the book is going to give you loot or baddies and place them on top of their respective deck or stack. A couple of notes. One encounter includes a water option, so if you're not playing with Undertow, you just move straight to the land option. And after playing this adventure, feel free to mix your components of this book into your general game. And it tells you a little bit on the back about mode shift, which is part of the Tyrant mode there. So that's one of the things in the first pack. Well, as I mentioned, it goes into the it's on the final page. Then what we got is 3 special encounters, days 1, 2 and 3. So as you know, you start off with special encounter cards in Too Many Bones. These are special ones based for your first 3 days in the Automaton of Shale, but it's also going to give you 1, 2, 3, 4 loot cards that you'll mix into your loot deck, basically. So it'll give you access to your loot, to this particular loot. And there we go. That's a very brief look at what's on the back. If you're pausing it, then you may have had a view on that. So there we go. There's the loot cards for that. And they would then go back into there. So that's the first page done. Then this next page is a doozy. Okay, we're going to come across the werewolf, and look at this. Oh, and I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to do it this way. Watch this again. It's just a wonderful, wonderful pop-up book. Look at the paper, the artwork on that, and the paper craft on that. And down here, as we pull this tag, you can see gearlocks waking up each other. Oh my God, look, something's there. Let's do that. Again, we've got a story pouch up here. So we'll do the story pouch. Up here, we've got some more story on there, which I'm not going to give out to you, but more story on there, and another card there. But look at that werewolf, that is absolutely fantastic. And here we have, it's an encounter card, and it gives you particular encounters that you can have from that card. Now, under here, you'll see these little things. This is where the baddie chips are. You can almost guess what this one's going to be, but I'm not going to kind of give you the details on the baddie. I will just say that this particular baddie is a base game baddie, and it's a 5-point baddie. And of course, with it being Chip Theory games, the chip just feels absolutely fantastic. So we'll close that back up. Just close those up, and we'll move on to the next page. This is just a joy of a page. We have an entire Funfair. Look at this. And as we pull this tab, the big wheel turns. And we have things on there. We have the Whack-A-Troll. We have an Owlbear Owie. We have dangerous darts. We all know dangerous darts from the game. You can see the roller coaster in the background there. It's just utterly stunning. I was showing this to my wife last night, and she was absolutely blown away. She's still never played Too Many Bones as of yet, but she was just blown away by how beautiful this is. And again, down here we have yet another pouch down here. So I'm just going to move that baddie chip over there. And in this pouch we have some trove loot cards. So let's have a look at these then, shall we? We have 2 trove loot cards, an encounter, and 2 loot cards as well. So this is the encounter you're going to take for this particular day of the adventure. And we've got the trove loot cards, which are beautiful, of course, slightly different look on them. And then we have the loot cards there as well, which are utterly fantastic. So you can see as you go through the game and experience the story, and this is the story here, which I'm not going to spoil for you, you will start to unveil more and more of your adventure. Right, who's ready for the next page? I think I am. This is one of my favourite pages. Look at this. Obviously, this kind of aligns to Undertow a little bit here, but it's absolutely stunning. Look at this as it opens up. It's just beautiful. You've got the jaws down there as something breaking through the water. You've got the tentacles coming off here. We have the gearlocks on the raft and in the water. It's just utterly stunning. And just, you pull it out and you open it up, and it's just utterly fantastic. And this has a chip up there and a chip down here. So first of all, we'll look at the pouch. Let's have a look in here. And here we have the story, which I'm not going to read for you, of course, and another encounter there, Kreln or High Water, it says on that. So let's have a look at this first chip down here. This is another 5-point baddie chip. There we go. And then this one up here, if you're familiar with Undertow, you'll know that this is a 3-point baddie chip. So you have chips for both the base game and for Undertow as well. Isn't it just stunning? I just want to show you that again, because this, I think, is my favourite page. I can only kind of wonder at how they came up with the mechanisms for this. It's a true work of art, an utterly beautiful experience. And every time you look at the picture, you see the pictures and the pop-ups, you see more and more in there, and you just appreciate more and more just what they've done to get this out to backers. It's a stunning piece of work. Right, on to the next page then. Look at this. Oh, it's a great town. And as we pull this tab here, we've got, yes, oh, what's hidden back here? We've got some bad guys hidden back here. Look, coming out the caves, coming out the top of the caves. They're coming for you. Isn't that just a great way to reveal stuff? I utterly love that. It's utterly fantastic. We can see our gearlocks, our wonderful gearlocks down here heading into the town. And we have, of course, another pouch with more story in there. So what do we have in this deck? We have an encounter deck, an encounter card, the Scavenger's Endgame, it says. We have a trove loot card with a 4, a 4 and a 4 on there, and 2 loot cards as well. There we go. Nice and quick that, for anybody who wants to pause. So yes, that's what you get in there. And you can see this emergent adventure kind of taking place as you go through it. And once again, for those in the cheap seats who didn't see this, that is just utterly beautiful. It's just stunning. It's just utterly stunning. And I'm sorry if my light's reflecting on certain pages, certain parts of the page here. So next page we're going to go to is this page. Look at this. It's a great forest scene. And look down here, we can see our wonderful gearlocks just down here, peeking out between the trees. There we go. And of course, we have a pouch up here, which will have some more story in there. There we go. And a fairly thick deck, so there's quite a bit in this. We have yet more trove loot, which is great. We love trove loot, and the thing about trove loot is, of course, you can never always unlock what you want. And we also have an encounter card, and we have our first Tyrant encounter card. Rock and Steel, and the encounter card is Earth Tomes. So obviously that's the Automaton of Shale encounter card, so we know we're getting close to the baddie now. And here we have a singular trove loot card, which is a 4, a 2 and a 4, and 3 loot cards. There we go. I'll very quickly whiz through those. But again, we have 2 more chips here. So the additional chip stories that you've got in your trove chest is going to start getting filled up with these. And the first one we got is a 5-point baddie. Okay, that's another 5-point baddie. And then the next one is, what's this? A 20-point baddie. Oh my god, let me just have a look at this one. Yeah, looking at the abilities on this, that's going to be a particularly difficult one to try and beat. I will tell you that its starting health is 9 on this particular 20-point baddie, so that's going to be a difficult one to beat. But again, look at those colours. That's just fantastic. And you see, look, here we go, up, down, up, down, up, poking out this way, poking out at the bottom. Fantastic. Now, this next page, I think, is my favourite page. This is maybe not as technically complex as the water page, but this is where you're going to see the Automaton of Shale. And I want to show you this. Look at this. This is just, oops, that needs to go down. This is just utterly stunning. This makes this book all worthwhile. I'm just utterly blown away by this. The fact that the sword comes down here, you see the sword there? The fact that the sword comes down here, it really pops off the page. It's just utterly fantastic. So we have the pouch up here. which has got quite a few openings in it because the story kind of elongates a little bit at this point. And we have Automaton of Shale Tyrant card as well. There's no dice with this. It'll tell you in the setup how you what dice you use for the Automaton of Shale. But when you get to this point, you've reached the bad guy, and therefore you know that you are going to be fighting the Automaton of Shale. And it's got the standard stuff on there for if you mix the Automaton of Shale into your normal deck. Now look at the gear lock at the top here. There's a tantrum at the top. We have boom, just popping up over the shoulder. We have all the gear locks really focusing in on the Automaton of Shale. And here, I shouldn't need to tell you that this is, of course, the baddie chip for the Automaton of Shale. I'm just going to look at his stats. Yeah, he's going to be a beast to try and beat. Excuse me. But it is beautiful, beautiful artwork, again by Anthony Letourneau on there. Looks utterly fantastic. This is without a doubt, I say, may not be as complex as the water page, but it just looks utterly wonderful. Look at that. Okay, then we get to the back of the book, and we have this. So you got everybody cheering because you completed the adventure, silhouetting everybody out. And here we go, we have a final pouch on here. And this final pouch gives us, kind of the epilogue card, if you like, or the reward card. Yeah, the epilogue for Automaton of Shale there. And the final part of the story. And that's it. So you will work your way through this adventure, this wonderful, wonderful adventure. You're going to work your way all the way through this adventure to until the end, and then you will have completed the Automaton of Shale by progressing the story that's inside. So I really hope that was as spoiler free as people wanted it to be. Oh my giddy aunt, just how beautiful is the Automaton of Shale. It is just a joy to behold. You'll be utterly wowed when you first get your Automaton of Shale. Now, the video will not do it justice. Like everything with Chip Theory games, is the tactility of what they do, and this is just a joy to open those pages and watch as everything kind of springs to life in front of you. It's just an utter joy to look at all the artwork, to look at that papercraft, to read through that story, to have a look at the encounters and the baddie chips and the loot and the trove loot, etc. It fits perfectly alongside everything Too Many Bones. Of course, it won't fit. The book won't fit within your trove chest, but all the components inside will fit within your trove chest. And this is what Chip Theory excels at. They do left field stuff. They come at your game and your gaming experience from a different angle. And it also almost makes perfect sense that they would have a pop-up book for Too Many Bones. And what they've done is they've not just kind of taken an idea and made it a reality. They've excelled in what they've done here. There is everything that screams utter quality from this book. You're going to want to study every detail of the artwork as well. You just want to kind of soak in that and really immerse yourself in the emergent story. It's an utter joy to own, and I'm so grateful for Chip Theory Games for sending me through this early preview copy. I cannot wait to get it to the table, so I think in the next week or so, my next Too Many Bones adventure, I'm going to play through the Automaton of Shale because I want to face that Tyrant. I want to have an adventure where I'm leading up to that Tyrant, mix those new chips in, mix those new those new loot cards and trove loot cards in there, have these new encounters. It's going to be an utter joy because it's Too Many Bones, and I love Too Many Bones. So I hope that wasn't too spoilerific for you. I think with something like this, there's always going to be an element of spoiling stuff because you're going to see the artwork for the first time. But hopefully I've given you more than just a small taste, but not enough to spoil your enjoyment by keeping kind of the secret on the detail on some of those cards and those chips. And not really going into too much detail about the story as well. So thank you very much for joining me on this journey through this preview of the Automaton of Shale from Chip Theory Games for Too Many Bones. It's utterly, utterly beautiful, and it deserves a place in your Too Many Bones collection. My name's Mark. This is Not Board Gaming. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, check out our other videos, and one final thought. If you can't find anyone else to play with, there's nothing wrong with playing with yourselves. Until next time, bye bye.